Hi, I'm Joshua Benjamin Ali, the CEO of JBA Consults. And in today's video, we are going to be exploring how sales forecasting and planning can transform your revenue strategy. This process basically allows you to look beyond the noise and make confident, data-driven decisions that fuel your long-term growth. So, sales forecasting and planning, predicting revenue, and powering strategy. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. All right, so why forecasting is essential for business growth? So, forecasting helps you plan with confidence. It removes ambiguity from your revenue targets and aligns your entire organization. So without forecasting, basically, businesses often overcommit resources or miss growth opportunities. If this is done well, then it becomes a strategic weapon. So forecasting provides visibility into future revenue trends. It aligns sales, marketing, finance, and operations under shared targets. It builds organizational agility by improving resource planning and performance expectations. It also enables informed decision making and strategic investments, and it also helps mitigate risk by preparing for demand fluctuations and market shifts. And that's the reason why forecasting really matters. Now, what are the types of sales forecasting? We have historical forecasting, which uses previous sales data to estimate future results, and this is best for predictable sales cycles. It's also another type is intuitive forecasting, which relies on representatives' gut feeling or experience, which is ideal for early stage or unpredictable markets. We also have another type, which is the opportunity stage forecasting, which is based on pipeline stages. Each stage assigned a probability of closing. And then we also have the multivariable forecasting. And this basically combines inputs like representative performance, deal size, the lead source, and cycle length. So sales forecasting, not all are equal, basically. So historical is simple and effective in stable markets. Opportunity stage has to do with models. Those models work when you have a well-defined pipeline. Intuitive forecasting, while it's subjective, has value in certain markets, as we've already explained. And multivariable forecasting, last but not the least, is your best bet when is your best bet when accuracy and scalability matters the most. So that will be the best bet for that. That is, if you are looking for accuracy and scalability for this particular sales forecasting. Now, building a forecasting process. So here we have 5 stages or 5 steps. So the first step is to define objectives, monthly revenue, product category targets, or territory level forecasts. And then we move on to step 2, which has to do with choosing models based on sales structure and market volatility. Then we move on to the next, which is gather and clean CRMs. That's the customer relationship or relations management tool that you'll be using, and sales data for accuracy. Step number 4 is analyzing your data, applying formulas, and validating assumptions. Then you move on to the next stage, which is share forecast with leadership. Share forecast with your leadership and update monthly or quarterly. So you need structure. So it's very important that first you define your goals. What exactly do you want to forecast? Then you move on to revenue, market share, lead conversations. Then you use clean, structured data from your CRM, revisit your assumptions monthly, and make it part of your strategic rhythm. That way, it's something that it becomes a norm. So you are able to properly build the sales forecasting process. Now, sales planning, that is from forecast to action. Turn forecasts into strategic targets by assigning team or individual quotas. So the power of forecasting is in what you do with it. Use it to shape quotas, deploy salespeople effectively, and align your compensation plans. So planning translates vision into execution. If your sales team doesn't know how they will reach their targets, the forecast has failed, basically. So turn forecast into strategic targets by assigning team or individual quotas, segment by region, representative, product, or vertical to improve accountability, align sales compensation to forecast and business opportunity or objectives, and then allocate marketing support, technology, and hiring based on forecasted outcomes. So it's not just because you just want to hire people, you're hiring people based on the outcome of your forecast. So based on that, you know exactly who you need at which point in time, that minimizing your cost and actually having the best results out of that. Now, what are some tools that you can use for accurate forecasting? So there are many tools available, from manual spreadsheets to AI-driven forecasting platforms. Just choose one that fits your scale and complexity. For large or growing teams. Automated systems not only save time, but increase the forecast accuracy significantly. So here we can see, for example, when it comes to CRM systems, Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, they are basically centralized data and automate the pipeline tracking. If you want to do it manually, then you can look into using spreadsheet tools like Excel, Google Sheets, and these are good for custom modeling and small teams. If you're looking for AI-powered tools, so you can use Clary, Insight Squared, Pipedrive. These actually help with predictive analytics and scenario modeling. So integrate forecasting with dashboards for executive visibility. So it's very important that your executives or those who are in higher positions basically have access to this so they can actually view what is going on with your team, with the project, with whatever it is that you're doing. All right, so let's move on to some common mistakes that people tend to make and how to be able to mitigate those mistakes. So forecasting mistakes, they are costly. So don't rely on just your gut feeling or gut instincts alone. So you need to keep clean data or keep your data clean and timely. So avoid setting numbers in a silo. Get insights from your representatives, your marketing team, and your customer success team. And your forecast is only as good as the inputs that you feed into it. So over relying on your representatives' intuition rather than data-backed models is one of the mistakes that people do. Failing to consider market shifts, seasonality, or competitor influence, that is something that is also a mistake a lot of people tend to make because the season changes. Tax season, when it comes to sales, it's not really good time for sales. because that is the time people are a bit stressed, especially in the States, trying to figure out how much in taxes they need to pay and that kind of thing. So that is something that the season changes how the process or the forecasting is supposed to be. So you need to account for those things. Using incomplete or outdated CRM data leading to flawed assumptions, that is another thing. And then setting forecasts without cross-function input from marketing or operations. So it's very important that you make sure that the forecast that you're setting, you get input from the marketing and operations or operations teams to be able to understand how the cross-functional input, cross-function will be, basically. Let's move on to the next. Collaborative forecasting with sales teams. So involve your representatives. They're on the ground and know which deals are real and which aren't. So make it safe to be honest. Don't penalize representatives for bad news. Instead, try to coach them on how good forecast drives better support and smarter decisions. So involve your representatives during the pipeline reviews to verify deal health. Encourage honest projections by removing fear of penalties. So if it's good news or it's bad news, let them be able to give you an honest projection and not dwell on maybe somebody is faulting or something like that. Because in business, those things do happen. You won't have good news all the time. So it's very important that you have honesty in the dealings that you have, especially with your team. Make forecasting part of regular team huddles or weekly reviews. So I remember I worked with a team where we had meetings every week, once a week, because it was remote work. And what we were doing basically was that every week we have the team, everybody is given tasks basically, or we have a review over what has gone over the previous week and what can be changed, what can be better. So having this kind of forecasting part of the regular team huddles or the reviews actually ended up making things better for the teams. So everybody started performing even much better. So it's very important. Train representatives on how their inputs drive strategic alignment and budget decisions. Because if things are not going on well in a particular department, then budgeting for that department will end up being affected, basically. So it's very important that you are able to train your representatives on how their inputs actually drive the strategic alignment and budget decisions. Using forecasting or forecast to influence strategic decisions. So that is forecasting as a strategic tool. So a solid forecast gives you more than revenue clarity. It basically shapes how you allocate resources across the departments. So if it guides, for example, your hiring, your marketing spend, your product launches, executive decisions, forecasting helps with all that. So it's the central nervous system of your go-to market strategy. So budgeting has to do with allocating capital and headcount based on revenue projections. Hiring, here we are expanding teams in regions or segments showing strong forecasted growth. Then we have marketing, which has to do with launching campaigns aligned with revenue targets and sales cycle timing. And then we move on to the product, which we have here, which basically it's adjusting the feature releases based on market demand insights. And all this comes from what your forecast is telling you. So I believe this is just going to be a summary here. Forecasting enables proactive decision-making across the organization. It involves the entire sales team in creating accurate collaborative forecasts. It helps choose models that suit your company size, structure, and data maturity, and review and adjust forecasts regularly to reflect market realities. So if you want to be able to have a template, for example, for your forecasting, you can scan this QR code or book a free forecasting strategy session with JBA Consults, and we will be able to assist you with that. So start simple, iterate consistently. So forecasting is not just a report, it's a leadership practice. So involve your people, pick the right tools, and stay agile. If you're ready to forecast smarter and lead with clarity, then let's schedule a session, and we are here to help you scale it with confidence. So that's going to be it for this video. If you did like the video, hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing for more videos in the future. And share the video with your friends if you think it's going to help them have some, just a little bit of knowledge in business, in whatever it is they're doing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers and bye-bye.